Hi, I'm AnalysisWX.com's weather analyst Andrew Fleck, just around your Thursday afternoon for a map model discussion. Map discussion due to some active weather throughout the states today, and a model discussion, like I said, I'd be continuously doing through every day this week and into the weekend because of a major pattern shift that is going to be occurring next week. And speaking of the pattern shift, weather analyst Hunter Auden did a map throughout this late week, and it will be posted on the site this weekend of what Analysis WX does believe the pattern is going to be shaping up to be. And given how the pattern is going to be occurring, we're going to have more of a block over the west with a high pressure, and that is going to create a trough over the east. And finally, that Arctic Express air finally punches down into the mid to eastern United States, causing not just chilly air, but even perhaps some flurries, snow showers, maybe a storm. We're going to talk about that today. Now, before we go into the model discussion, we're going to go into the map outlook here. First, talk about up around Washington and Oregon. And I'll tell you what, every day I do a video, there's always active weather up in that area there. And I'll tell you what, I'm going to have to go and find some statistics on really how much snow some of the mountains and how much rain some of the valleys have gotten over that area, because it just seems like for the past 2 weeks they've been just continuously seeing this pattern of rain and snow. I mean, it's not uncommon, but it's very active up there, so I may have to find some of the snow totals and rain totals up there in maybe the next video segment or on the page later on today. Elsewhere, we do have a low pressure over Ohio. We do have some rain across the region now, even into the mid-Atlantic. And what that's going to do then is bring just some spotty showers, not a real prolonged rain, just some showers that are going to move through, some very heavy. We do have a shield of heavy rain across central PA. We do have another one across Wisconsin, just some really spotty stuff, even Maryland here. And that is then going to move east. Some of the stuff across the Ohio Valley, Wisconsin, the Great Lakes may transfer itself into the east, so Pennsylvania, New York, New Jersey later on tonight. I actually am from eastern Pennsylvania around here, in case some did not know, and we had a very small, very less intense, small DBZ cell move through the area this morning, and I did not expect to see heavy rain out of it, and it did indeed occur very heavily, and visibilities were actually dropped very quickly, so I can't really imagine how heavy the rain is across some of these regions that I just talked about. So if you are driving or you have to do anything outside, just watch and be careful, because some visibility should close up very quickly if you find yourself in some of that heavy rain. Now back into the models here. Lately, in the past few days now, I've been talking about that big pattern change that's going to be occurring. And the storm that we just looked at on the map outlook, that storm is going to be pushing away, but what we've been talking about after that has been a nor'easter, and this storm was supposed to first kind of round itself out by Texas, come across the southern states, and then come off the coast and just kind of bomb out along the eastern seaboard. Well, now it looks like this storm is kind of going to get stalled from this high pressure up here and be transferred back into this cold shot that is coming down. Now what this means, this means the east does not get a nor'easter, or at least some rain, but nothing like it was before on the models, and a quicker cold shot comes in for the east by 3, 4, 5 days. So as you can see on this next imagery here, that's what I'm pretty much talking about. You have the storm very weaker, much inland. You have a high pressure dominating across the east, so it's going to be very hard for this storm to be able to get going and even be able to even get to the east. So it's going to be forced into this cold air that's coming down, and that's then going to form an even deeper and sharper trough that's going to dig its way into the Ohio Valley and east. So, given the next imagery, it does indeed do that, and it does form a storm in itself across the Great Lakes. Now we're a little farther out in the models, so we're at about 150, which is medium range, very close to long range, so you can't go too much and talk about the storm aspect. But what we do know is that high pressure, just like on Hunter's map, showed a good, nice high starting to extend over the west and a trough coming down right over the east. So again, the pattern looks to be set pretty right. We do have a storm in here, and that's going to be very interesting to see how that plays out, given the cold air that's going to be coming in as well. I'll tell you what, I think that's going to have to be the main watch, or coming into next week, mid to late next week. Possibility of a storm. Patterns now setting up. We're now in November, mid-November, coming into December. It's really not uncommon anymore to see snow, so flakes could be flying as early as mid to late next week across the lakes, okay, and even the Ohio Valley. Maybe not the east yet, and that we're just going to have to kind of keep ourselves an eye on what that storm does. But just giving a fun graphic here. This shows you the snow, and off that graphic I just showed you, you have a system in here, and you have some snow across Minnesota, Wisconsin, and you kind of have that trough coming down. So again, the graphic of the GFS latest has some snow out there, so it's going to be very, very interesting to see if that can play out. But all in all, I mean, we're looking at more of a longer range here, so we shouldn't be taking it too seriously. What I would be now looking at is just the cold shot itself coming in, and just seeing how the pattern really sets up. And I think it's going to set up for finally the east really turning the tables and seeing it a little colder. West is going to be a little drier, a little warmer, but finally that northern jet is pushing through, and some wintry looking conditions are going to start evolving into the United States. So again, that's about a wrap for this afternoon's map model discussion. I may have some statistics on the Oregon, Seattle precip that has been falling for the past 2 weeks that I've been talking about every day, so look forward to that. But as of right now, enjoy your Thursday, and we'll talk a little more by tomorrow. So have a nice one.